Two women residing in the same city, both bearing the same name, met gruesome deaths within days of each other. Was this a mere coincidence, or did something much more sinister unfold on October 12, 2000? Mary Lou Morris started her day as usual. She said goodbye to her husband and went to work at a nearby Chase Bank in Houston, Texas. However, Mary never reached her workplace that morning. Her husband became increasingly concerned, and he eventually filed a missing persons report when she didn't return home. Later that evening, Mary's burnt-out vehicle was discovered only 3 miles from her residence. Inside the car was a disturbing revelation: Mary's body. Her body was so badly burned that the coroners could not establish her time of death or determine an official cause. In their quest for a motive, investigators meticulously examined every aspect of Mary's life. She had no known enemies and no involvement in criminal activities. Despite her wedding ring being reportedly missing, detectives were not convinced that this was the result of a failed robbery. The perplexing question remained: who would harm an apparently innocent woman? As the narrative unfolded, an eerie revelation emerged just 3 days after Mary Lou Morris's death. Another Mary Morris met a violent death in her car, just a few miles from her residence in Houston, Texas. However, unlike Mary Lou Morris, Mary McGinnis Morris experienced a series of peculiar incidents in the months leading up to her murder. Mary was a successful nurse practitioner in charge of many clinics. She was well liked at work, except for one person, Dwain, a new coworker she was said to fear, according to former colleagues. On a specific evening, Mary found her office in disarray, with personal items and pictures shuffled and misplaced. The situation became frightening when Mary found a note on Dwain's desk, with the words, "Death to her." Filled with fear, she quickly called her husband, desperately asking for a gun to protect herself. Notably, she kept the gun hidden in her car under the driver's seat. A few weeks later, Mary was discovered lifeless in her car. She had suffered a brutal beating, and in an ironic twist of fate, she was shot with the very gun she had bought for her own protection. Investigators wondered if her former coworker might have been involved in her death. They also thought about the possibility of Mary's husband, Mike, being connected to this tragic homicide. The police discovered a 4-minute call made from Mike's phone to Mary's, 2 hours after her presumed murder. The phone company confirmed that someone answered on the other end, but the identity remained uncertain. Despite denying any conversation, Mike's post-murder behavior raised suspicion. Even though he had a solid alibi for his whereabouts on the day of his wife's murder, he refused a polygraph test, hired a lawyer, and prevented police from speaking to his daughter. Relatives and friends hinted at marital issues between Mary and Mike because he suspected she was having an affair with a family friend. In another strange turn of events, a reporter from a Houston newspaper claimed their news center got a call from the alleged perpetrator. This individual supposedly admitted to accidentally targeting the wrong Mary Morris in a failed hit. Although no concrete evidence supported this theory, it's worth noting that both women shared similar physical characteristics and lived in close proximity to one another. 23 years later, the murders of Mary Lou Morris and Mary McGinnis Morris remain unsolved. Was a hitman hired to kill Mary McGinnis Morris but targeted the wrong victim? Or were these two murders simultaneous but unrelated occurrences? To this day, Dwain and Mary's husband remain potential suspects.